Yo, look at this fucking cute ass animal. What is this? What is this thing? It's scrub. Right? Look at. Just listen to the sound it makes. Right? Listen carefully, okay? Listen. Hey! Did I scare you guys? I'm sorry, but it was necessary to get you guys in the mood because today we will be exploring the abandoned, foggy town of Silent Hill. I will be mainly talking about the first three Silent Hill games: Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, and Silent Hill 3. The first four Silent Hill games was made by a development group within Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo and was named Team Silent. The team consists of staff members that had failed at other projects and originally intended to leave the company. That is, until Silent Hill turned out to be a huge success. Some of the key members from Team Silent were Hiroyuki Owaku, who was the scenario writer of Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3. Masahiro Ito, who was the background and creature designer of Silent Hill, art director and creature designer of Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3, and of course, the man who produced Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 4 and who is responsible for making the game so terrifying with his sound director, the legend Akira Yamaoka. So follow me as we dive into the dark abyss known as Silent Hill. The original Silent Hill was released on February 23, 1999 and was a big success. Maybe not as big as the Resident Evil franchise according to sales numbers, but offers so much more than shooting up zombies and this scrub. Remember, Team Silent were all scrubs, involved in past failed projects, and none of them had experience with horror. So the fact that they made a horror game to rival with Capcom's Resident Evil with their first game is a big accomplishment. If I were to ask you to rank all the best horror games, I bet you Silent Hill will be top 5. It's number 2 in my list if you were wondering. The story of Silent Hill is pretty simple but effective. You play as Harry Mason, and on your way to your daughter Cheryl's town for a vacation, you swerve to avoid hitting a girl in the road. And as a result, Harry crashes and loses consciousness. Upon waking up in town, he realizes that Cheryl is missing and sets out to look for her. You guys ever hear that motivational quote, "It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey"? Well, it's the same with this game, but with grotesque monsters, hellish settings, and fanatic cults running around. The journey you face with Harry will leave you exhausted, at least emotionally. As you traverse the town of Silent Hill with Harry searching for her lost daughter, you uncover secrets the town hides deeper than any fog can. Without spoiling too much, you learn that all of the past events that have occurred was orchestrated by unseen forces. To do what exactly? You have to play the game yourself to find out. The game offers more than what Resident Evil can. The horror you feel in Resident Evil are similar to jump scares, while in Silent Hill, the horror you feel is more authentic. In Resident Evil, I may feel fear only because I lack ammunition or first aid sprays. But in Silent Hill, I could have God mode on but still fear what's beyond the next corner. And it's all thanks to the atmosphere of Silent Hill. The silent and demoralizing school grounds, dark and unnerving hospital, while being accompanied by dreadful abominations? Masahiro Ito did a great job in conveying fear with his monster designs. At the time they were so damn effective, I was a teen who was used to the horror genre until I played and witnessed Mr. Ito's creations. Of course, another effective factor was the soundtrack by Akira Yamaoka. So if you don't mind old school PS1 graphics, I highly recommend you give this gem a playthrough. Silent Hill 2 was released on September 24th, 2001 and received critical acclaim, selling over 1 million copies in the month of its release in North America, Japan, and Europe, and is my personal favorite Silent Hill game. The story involves James Sunderland. After receiving a letter from his deceased wife, Mary, James comes to the foggy town of Silent Hill to find her. In his search, he eventually meets up with Maria, who strongly resembles her except for more provocative clothes and behavior, and allows her to accompany him. Silent Hill 2's story was based by Russian author Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel Crime and Punishment. For the game's artistic style, the team drew on a variety of influence like the work of film director David Cronenberg, David Fincher, David Lynch, and David Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock. Damn, that's a lot of Davids. Along with films similar to the 1990s psychological horror film Jacob's Ladder, which I recommend you watch. One of the reasons Silent Hill 2 is my favorite of all the series is because of the heavy influence of psychological horror. James is going through massive stress even before his time in Silent Hill. Mary was suffering from an illness and caused her to become angry and hurt her loved ones, particularly James. That made an impression on James' psyche, which in turn reflects on the misty town of Silent Hill. Some monsters like the bobblehead nurses and the 2 pairs of female legs were a reflection of James' sexual frustration during Mary's hospitalization. There was also this scene. So there's a lot of hidden lore in the game. Some I refuse to discuss because it will spoil the game. Just keep your eyes open. Luckily, James is not the only one suffering in the greatest town in the world. Mostly there to help James realize his mistakes, we have other people here who are battling their own demons. First up, we meet Angela Orozco, who is drawn to town seeking for her mother. The story you unravel for her backstory is chilling and very upsetting. You encounter her in Silent Hill multiple times, and every encounter reveals more upsetting details. Then we have Eddie Dombrowski, who is an obese young man who hints that he suffers from verbal abuse prior to his arrival in Silent Hill. You first meet him in an apartment complex vomiting and aggressively denying any involvement with the death of a man stuffed in a refrigerator. We also have Laura, an 8-year-old girl wandering the town. She is apparently the only innocent human character in town, in contrast to James, Angela, and Eddie. In her vision, she doesn't see any monsters or serious oddities in Silent Hill. Or does she? There was someone else, right? I'm forgetting the other memorable person. Who was it again? Yep, this scrub right here was the reason why Silent Hill 2 was terrifying, constantly pursuing James throughout the game, showing up when you least expect it. Very effective. I will leave this character a mystery for you to uncover, if you dare. Silent Hill 3 was released on August 5, 2003, the third installment in the Silent Hill series and a direct sequel to the first Silent Hill game, and the start of Silent Hill's decline in the Silent Hill franchise. You play as Heather. After waking up from a nightmare, we find her in a mall, and before she has a chance to return home to her father, Private Detective Douglas Cartland confronts her, claiming to have information about her birth. Heather evades him, and upon trying to leave the mall, she discovers that the mall is abandoned except for monsters lurking in every corner, and it begins with a great story involving new and old characters from the Silent Hill series. In my opinion, the first decision that started the downfall of Silent Hill 3 was to split the team in half, to work on this game, Silent Hill 3, and to work on Silent Hill 4, The Room, also known as Room 302. Because of this decision, I feel like the game suffers from originality. Silent Hill 3 lacks any innovation in gameplay and doesn't do anything major that the previous series has done before. Another criticized was the game's camera and control system. It can be very awkward, disorienting, and motion sickness inducing. In the previous Silent Hill games, the monster designs were greatly made, inducing fear and dread. But here in Silent Hill 3, some of the monsters are more annoying than horrifying. And some can argue that the game is a bit shorter than the past Silent Hill games, which is kinda sad considering this is the third installment in the series. It's supposed to be 3 times better than the original, but after all those negative criticisms, Silent Hill 3 is still a great horror game. The story is very alluring, making you want to push forward and unravel more of Heather's story and her involvement in the Silent Hill universe. The creepy and foreboding atmosphere of the past Silent Hill games is in Silent Hill 3, maybe even more. And of course, the legend himself, Akira Yamaoka, played a big role, yet again, in improving the game's atmosphere with his godlike soundtrack. just in case you have not played Silent Hill 3 and have no idea what the story is, I will not discuss the story. I refuse to be that bonehead that spoils this game, but believe me when I say, you should experience this game. Now, let's quickly talk about the other Silent Hill games. As mentioned before, the last Silent Hill game made by Team Silent was Silent Hill 4 The Room. It received a Metacritic score of 67 out of 100, indicating a mixed or average review. I personally did not love the game. There were some great things like one or two scary monster designs, but it was overwhelmed by some of the other monster designs, like the spooky wheelchair enemies or those freaking annoying ass unkillable ghost enemies, man. The story too was a bit lacking. In brief, you play as Henry, who's stuck in his apartment and can only travel because of a wormhole in his restroom. Nothing really memorable like the previous Silent Hill games. Team Silent was working on Silent Hill 5 until Konami disbanded the infamous team, leaving the Silent Hill franchise in the hands of Western developers. The first one to continue the Silent Hill series was Climax Action with Silent Hill Origins, which was a prequel to the first Silent Hill game. The game received a Metacritic score of 78 out of 100, and I loved the game because it was similar to the other past Silent Hill games, and because it was released on the PSP, which meant a portable Silent Hill game. I recommend trying it out after you played the first 3 Silent Hill games. The next Silent Hill game made was Silent Hill Homecoming, and I can't express this enough. Stay away from this game, hands down, alright? Just don't, okay? Homecoming focuses on a combat mechanic. You need a specific weapon to inflict damage on a specific enemy. The story? Really appalling. Do not try this game. Next up, we have Silent Hill Shattered Memories, made by Climax Studios. Now, I'm gonna say something a Silent Hill fanboy should never say. I think Shattered Memories is an okay game. The game centers on a soft reboot of the first Silent Hill game, a retelling of Silent Hill, taking some pointers from the previous Silent Hill games with a twist. Don't get me wrong, I love the original, but I also like the idea Shattered Memories brings in this installment. And the last Silent Hill game was Silent Hill Downpour, developed by Vatra Games. The game received fair reviews. Game Informer give it a 7 out of 10 and Destructoid give it a 8 out of 10. Downpour was a pretty good game, with updated gameplay and combat which was pretty refreshing, but suffers from subpar story. It's not bad, but it was not interesting either. Okay, bottom line is, Silent Hill, at least the first 3 games, offers some unique experiences that you should expose yourself with. I can't believe that there are still people in 2020 who have never played a single Silent Hill game. With all the talented people behind the Silent Hill games, I promise you, you will encounter all the love and hard work they put into the first 3 Silent Hill games. From the creepy designs to the hypnotic soundtracks throughout the Silent Hill games, the future of Silent Hill is a big mystery with the cancellation of Silent Hills. I hope Konami realizes that they have gold in their hand, and with the right developer behind their precious franchise, they can please both them and their fans. So get to it, you scrubs, and make a new Silent Hill game. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Next up, we have a game that should have been part of the Silent Hill franchise.